Jake Paul's looming showdown with Anthony Joshua has become one of the most captivating, bewildering, and electrifying boxing conversations in years. A spectacle that was once laughed at as impossible is now inching toward reality, forcing even the most seasoned analysts, former champions, and hardened critics to confront the sheer unpredictability of the sport they claim to know. And as the world stares at the evolving storyline, Jake Paul has stepped into a transformation so drastic, so deliberate, that even Joe Rogan couldn't hide his surprise. The recent clip of Jake's tightened frame, sharper posture, and focused demeanor sent shockwaves across the combat community. This wasn't the same influencer-turned-boxer who first stepped into the ring years ago as a novelty act. This was a man preparing for the fight of his life, against a heavyweight whose presence alone can change the temperature of an arena. Joe Rogan looked at Jake's physique and admitted something that few dared to express publicly. Jake looks ready, focused, locked in. And with Anthony Joshua moving into the late stage of his career, edging closer to 40, Rogan believes this fight has more layers than people want to acknowledge. Jake has stepped in with real fighters before, even if they weren't in their prime, and he took those challenges seriously. That experience, combined with his evolution, makes this matchup far more interesting than the easy blowouts many fans expect. Still, not everyone agrees on how the fight should unfold. Andre Berto observes a landscape where boxing purists want Joshua to obliterate Jake, ending the influencer experiment once and for all. But he also sees the cracks. Joshua hasn't always been the dominant, terrifying force he once was. His inconsistency, the changes in trainers, the shifts in fighting style, and the psychological weight of his past losses all hover like shadows over this clash. Meanwhile, Jake continues refining his approach with disciplined training, smart coaching, and a determination that refuses to fade. Berto doesn't claim Jake is better, but he won't dismiss the possibility that Jake, young, strong, well-conditioned, and deeply invested, could create a moment no one expects. Behind closed doors, Jake has spared no expense. Heavyweight sparring partners like Frank Sanchez and Jared Anderson have stepped in, raising questions not only about Jake's preparation, but also their motivation. Some say they are there for the money, a chance to secure a hefty payday from a high-profile fighter. Others believe it's an opportunity for Jake to feel real heavyweight power, to understand what it means to stand in the path of someone whose fists can alter careers. Yet analysts argue that these sessions offer little benefit to the heavyweight sparring partners, who already possess more skill and power than Jake. They speculate that those rounds may be more about Jake learning survival than matching technique. And then there's Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen, who shift the spotlight back onto Anthony Joshua. They insist that Joshua must see this fight as a mission to protect the respect of boxing itself. With Netflix broadcasting the event to millions of casual viewers around the world, Joshua carries not only his own reputation, but the weight of the heavyweight division. He cannot afford a slow start, a miscalculation, or a moment of hesitation. Against Francis Ngannou, he showed what a serious, disciplined version of himself looks like. That is the version he must bring to Jake Paul. Because if he doesn't, the implications will echo loudly across the sport. Ada Oladipo adds another dimension entirely. Joshua is not taking this lightly. Not even close. By joining Alexander Usyk's training camp, Joshua sends a clear message. He intends to be at his absolute best. Jake is not facing a passive or distracted version of Joshua. He's facing a refined, strategic, powerful heavyweight preparing to unleash the efficiency that dominated his earlier career. Oladipo believes that Jake, knowing this, has been adjusting his style as well. Both men are treading into new territory, reinventing themselves for a fight that feels surreal but dangerously real at the same time. Boxing writers call Jake's decision to take this fight the boldest move he has ever made. He could have continued slowly building his resume, picking comfortable opponents, and protecting his carefully curated brand. Instead, he chose a man who has knocked out giants. If Jake survives more than a round, the narrative surrounding him changes. If he wins, the sport might never recover from the shock. These stakes are precisely why analysts call this fight insane, brave, reckless, brilliant, sometimes all at once. Others, like Paulie Malignaggi and Luke Thomas, keep the conversation grounded in brutal reality. Joshua is not just big. He is powerful, technically gifted, and carries the kind of finishing instinct that fighters spend a lifetime trying to master. Jake, no matter how much he has improved, is stepping into a ring with someone whose experience dwarfs his own. Luke Thomas admits he is genuinely concerned for Jake's health, comparing the matchup to a cinematic mismatch, Rocky vs. Drago, except far more dangerous. Yet, even he refuses to rule out the impossible. Boxing has shocked the world before. And Jake, with his unshakable belief, might somehow touch Joshua's chin in a way that alters history. Michael Bisping sees the spectacle for what it is, a blockbuster. People will hate it, criticize it, call it absurd. But they will watch it. They will watch it the way they watched Jake versus an aging Mike Tyson, a fight that broke records despite the backlash. Controversy sells, curiosity sells, and Jake Paul sells. Whether it ends in glory or disaster, people will tune in because they can't resist seeing how far Jake pushes this experiment. And beneath all the analysis, the predictions, the fear, and the excitement lies a strange truth. Jake Paul has spent nearly 7 years training, studying, investing, and evolving. He is no longer just a YouTuber. He is a boxer, albeit not on Joshua's level, but far removed from the joke many still pretend he is. He plays into that persona because it sells the story. But behind closed doors, he is preparing for a war. Now, the world waits. The moment they step into the ring, size, reputation, and narratives collide in ways boxing has never seen before. The outcome could be predictable, or it could be one of the greatest upsets in modern sports. If you enjoyed this deep dive breakdown into the wild world of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, make sure to hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more dramatic, story-driven fight analysis. Do you believe Jake has any real chance? Or will Joshua end this experiment in seconds? Let me know below, and stay tuned, because this story is only getting started.